I would love just to start, give you the floor, kind of talk maybe a little bit about your process of writing this book, if it was different than any of your previous experiences.
Sure. If I ramble, you have to cut me off, okay? So I have written online historically. I wrote a blog from like 2004 to maybe 2017, 18, something like that. And so, going into my first book, which was The World Atlas of Coffee, I thought that writing was relatively easy because I had done it. I'd written hundreds of thousands of words casually. And then I discovered that being a writer is a job. And if you already have a job, taking a second job is quite hard work. I really did not enjoy writing my first book at all. And so coming to this book with some trepidation, because the process is quite stressful for me, I think what had really helped me was I had recently done the audiobook for The World Atlas of Coffee. So the publishers had decided that for some reason I should read a textbook to people. But going through that book, rereading what I had written word for word, which is kind of a brutal thing to do, was instructive in that was a tone and a language and a style of a time. And I felt very strongly that the way that I enjoy to talk about coffee now is quite different than the way I used to talk about coffee. And so the first thing that I kind of nailed down with it was tone. Because coffee is quite stressful in that regard. It's a thing that's really delightful and it's really fun, built on, a very endemically unfair system of coffee production. And that's a bit of a tension in a lot of how we think about coffee and talk about coffee. And I've gone backwards and forwards over the years of like, who should feel bad about this? And ultimately, should everyone feel bad about it all of the time? Should we strip all of the joy out of this thing that is delightful and interesting? And I sort of feel like maybe not necessarily. I could be wrong. And so, yeah, the point of the book was to have people enjoy coffee more. That's the underpinning about a lot of what I'm trying to do on the internet. And so with this book that, again, was a little bit textbooky, it's an instructional manual. For me, the defining quality had to be, if you read this, the outcome has to be delight in one form or another.
So with all the knowledge you have surrounding espresso, why do you not have an espresso machine at home?
Because the most honest answer is I'm a little bit lazy, and firing up an espresso machine is an investment of time and effort and energy, and I'm not naturally the cleanest barista anymore. Like, it's been a while since I've worked bar, so the idea of like, I've got to heat it up, I've got to dial in, I've got to clean up after myself, that to me is I would much rather pay someone for that. Yeah. That's a good transaction to me. I was like, I will happily give you several dollars for an espresso so I don't have to do all of that. And so I feel like, coffee is work, and I'm trying to get some separation from work and home. And so that's why I'm very happy with brewed coffee in the morning. You know what I mean? Like that's a very nice start to the day. I get a little time, I can come around to the world, and then I can go to work and have espresso if I want it. But I don't actually want coffee as my hobby as well as my job.
Yeah, that's interesting. And this is me being curious. Day to day, you go out and do things in your part of town locally. Do people know what you do, or really?
Yeah, no, it's gotten really weird. I sort of had a lot of YouTube growth during the pandemic, and I was like most people, I existed inside my home, and then occasionally I would exist inside the studio, and that was it for like 2 years. I didn't go anywhere, and then suddenly the world kind of opened back up again, and it was terrifying because suddenly it felt like everyone knew who I was, and that was kind of weird. And so yes, it's easier now where I live because I think anyone who's wanted to yell, "Oi, coffee guy," at me has done it now. That's out of their system, so that's fine. But if I'm anywhere else, seemingly in the world too, people want to say hi. It's very nice. People are very lovely, generally respectful. But yes, it's weird, and I'm not sure that was really the intention when I started making videos on YouTube. That's not a thing I crave. It's really nice when people say hi. It continues to freak me out.
Yeah.
But yes, that's definitely a weird bit of it.